So walk me through, one of the biggest things you probably see right now is you've got kids coming in undefeated, in their life or in their high school career. Um, Possibly you've got kids that aren't as undefeated but are still struggling with losses, how to get over that loss. Um, what do you think now, looking back on your career, thinking about some of those harder losses, obviously, one being in the NCAA finals, what what would you be able to say to them now? What would you go back and say to yourself? Would you do anything differently?
I don't know if I would. I mean, because everything's kind of always been on to the next thing, right? Like that's how life goes. I probably did a bad job after Olympics, actually. I mean, just kind of, I don't know, felt sorry for myself. I mean, I guess I don't know what else it would have been. But like, I think I hung on to that one too long. There was a hangover after that. The other thing was always kind of like, hey, what's the next thing? Let's get to it. Yeah, it hurts, but I'm going to learn from it and get better. And that's kind of just, if I think about my high school career, that's a little bit what it was. I got second as a freshman. I got hurt as a sophomore, ranked number one, didn't get to go to state. Get second the next year, have to have surgery the week after the state tournament, and then you win finally as a senior. So to me, it's just like, it's kind of on to the next, man. Just keep working, keep trusting in the work. And that doesn't mean that it didn't hurt. I mean, the losses hurt, but I also had good people around me too. And I had brothers that were in my ear that would support and love me. I had a mom and dad that loved and supported me. I had a sister, had great teammates and believed in the program I was around. I mean, I believe in those guys. They're telling me you're gonna be an NCAA champion. I believed them. It wasn't like, I kind of hope that can happen. Like I truly believed it. It wasn't a question. It was just when and how many. I mean, it's really what it was. It's like, it's just going to be how many. How many am I going to win? I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I knew, and maybe some of it was because you saw it too. I mean, you saw it. Like you saw guys in front of you do it. But part of it is just a faith and belief in yourself too, that you trust. You trust that no matter what, I'll find a way. I'll keep working, and if I get knocked down, I get back up again. I get knocked down, I get back up again. I get beat in this position, well, I'll probably go back to that position again and again and again, and then try to figure out how to beat it. But I think that's just kind of how it goes. I mean, in your self-worth shouldn't be based on your wins and losses. I mean, who you are and how you feel as a person has to be more deep-rooted and seated than that. Because if that's the case, then you're blown with the wind. So then if I win, I feel good, and I feel great about myself. I don't. I think I feel good about where I'm at, and hopefully the man I am, and the father and person and husband is, because I feel like I'll keep showing up every day and trying to give my best. And if yesterday wasn't my best, then today's gonna be my best, and I'll keep doing it every day. And trust and have faith, man. I look at faith that either you have or you don't. I don't think there's an in between. I don't think you can. And I think the same thing with, I told them about making a decision. If am I gonna put everything into this? There was no kind of wishy-washy about it. The decision was made. And the same thing with faith. And either you trust and believe or you don't. There's no in between. And that's kind of how I feel about myself and my wrestling, and whatever happens, happens. And sometimes you can look back and be like, why did that loss happen, or why did this happen? Or I think it's all happened like it's supposed to help make me a better coach or father or husband. Or, I mean, any adversities I've had in life, it's always made me better. It's always made me dig in more and find out more about myself. It's made my roots deeper every single time. So instead of, I think, crying and putting my head down about them, it's like, I'm going to go back to work and keep working and trust that what should happen is going to happen. I tell you, my sophomore year when I got hurt, that was a rough. I mean, that was rough. My sophomore year at state, and it doesn't matter. Like, because I was watching, me and Lee were talking, and we're watching our kids practice yesterday, and it still hurts them like it hurts, because he asked if I got nervous. Like, do I get nervous for the boys when they wrestle? I don't at all. Like, I love it. I love watching them compete. It's so fun. It's so fun to see them just wrestle and seem like they enjoy something. I think because I know what the sport's going to give them. I know that they're going to be able to handle anything, and that's why I love it. That's like, hey, if they get beat, they're gonna do hopefully like I did. They're just gonna dust themselves off and go back to work, right? And they're gonna find some deeper depths of themselves, and they're gonna be able to trust themselves. And man, I can't think anything more powerful than that. Um, but yeah, I mean, and I get kind of going all over the place. But my sophomore year, I mean, I remember getting hurt at sectionals. I mean, I was ranked number one. I ended up tearing my shoulder up, and really should have won a state title. I should have won a state title that year. Our team should have won a state title that year. Um, my brother was back home that year, coaching at Osage. Man, I just remember all those things. I remember being in that back hallway and my mom crying and my aunt crying, and remember the ride home. And I just remember, like, you're sitting there thinking, you're like, I still remember, man. I remember sitting in the back of the car. I remember this. And I don't talk about this stuff very much, but I remember sitting in the back of the car. And I mean, I remember looking at my mom, my dad, and, I mean, that dream of being a state champion that year was gone. And I remember just like, thinking, and I'm like looking at the door and like, it's like, should I jump out that door? I mean, those things go through your head, and I was like, dude, it's wrestling. I mean, I remember, and I remember thinking that, like, yeah, it's wrestling, and I love wrestling. I love the sport. I love everything that it's given to me. But man, I'm going to come back next year and get that. I remember it was painful though. I remember sitting in the back of that car, remember that ride home. I remember sitting and watching my teammates, wrestle in the state tournament. I remember all that stuff. But I remember it didn't make me bitter though. I remember it making me better though. I remember it making me be even more grateful and thankful for some of the things that I did have. And sometimes it's hard in those moments, but man, I think that just means I was raised really well. So I don't know. I don't know where I even started. I don't even know what that question was, but